to Soccer City. Tifos, how's everybody doing? It is DannyBrams here. 2 days to match day, 2 days till the home opener. Charlotte FC is not looking so good to start the MLS season, but it is a long campaign, and we cannot wait to finally get things started here back at the Fortress, Bank of America Stadium. And you know we had to do it to you. We had to bring him in. We had to bring him back. One of the best, one of the most frequent guests we've ever had here on the show. And it's Kevin Egan from Apple TV, Mr. Atlanta United. But he's gone league-wide now, so we don't hold it against him. Welcome back, Kevin. Thank you so much for coming. First visit to Soccer City under the new name of the show.
Yeah, love it, Danny boy. Thanks for having me on as always. And excited to get stuck in. You say Atlanta United, but I have to say, I was back at the old club I used to broadcast for this week, the Chicago Fire. What a tremendous experience to see the stadium groundbreaking and all that's going on in the Windy City right now as well. A great time for our global game in the likes of New York City with the stadium, Miami obviously to come in April, and Chicago too. It's a fun time.
Yeah, I can't wait to have you here in Charlotte for the groundbreaking of our soccer-specific stadium in, let's say, 2035, probably. I think if things are still going.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know. So if we can make the numbers work, we might be able to pull it off. But I agree, MLS is thriving. MLS is surging. I think the removal of the extra paywall on Apple TV has helped. I've seen the numbers I've seen. I don't know what you guys are seeing internally, but MLS viewership is already spiking through 2 weeks, and I think that's a good thing. And 360 is great. I got a chance. We were the late kickoff. Charlotte FC was the late kickoff, 10:30 last weekend. So I got to watch 360 all night, and I'm just thinking, all I want to do is hear Kevin Egan say, "We gotta go," and then I know something good's happening.
Do you know, it last week was tough though. The first week, this week is amazing. We've got I think it's 4 games at 7:30, 3 more. So the second hour, we've got 7 games. That's all I want is lots of games. Last week, we kicked off with 2 games at 7:30, which is tough for a whip round show. So it's one of these ones you dive into whatever you have, make sure you have fun. And the 2 games meant that we could have some special guests joining us, and stuff like that makes it so much fun. To have, Brad Guzan join us, Sasha join us later in the show. He was calling the San Diego game. So yeah, I'm really loving it. The numbers are public from week 1. I heard the numbers were better for week 2, but also I can feel it on social media with the hashtag MLS360. People commenting from where they're watching from around the world. It's fun to see the uptick since the MLS Season Pass extra subscription went away.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, the more you do something, the longer you're able to stick around, the more you can draw an audience to yourself. That's what we've been going with here on this show for 5 years.
Exactly.
So, you talk about scoring goals. I can I will say, even if it was a struggle for you guys, it was a really good watch. So I will say,
appreciate you.
You know, I love to puff you up. I'm the number one hype man of all our guests, and I won't stop now because it was a very good watch. You talk about we gotta go. We got a key play alert, coming on the screen. Kevin Egan's calling it. What you haven't been able to do, I think, too many times, unfortunately, in that instance, is we got to go. I don't think you've done it yet. You don't think you've done a we got to go to Charlotte FC yet?
No, I mean,
our
because
first match was the early kickoff on opening day. So Charlotte FC struggling to score goals, Kevin. We have no offense. It's really bad. And I got to say, 2 games in, people here are already starting to push the panic button. Do you think that's wise? Do you want to talk us back off the ledge here? What do you think?
Well, it's not like Charlotte's away form has been absolutely phenomenal over the years anyway, right? So you start the season with 2 games away from home. I think with a new coach for St. Louis and everything at Energizer Park the way they are there, it's not an easy place to go. You go to the Galaxy. They've refreshed with João Klaus there. They've got a team now that understands, I think, who they are without Ricky Puig. Not the easiest place to go. Now, in saying that, you cannot concede 3 goals in 13 minutes. It's just criminal. And especially the way Charlotte conceded those goals. Like, we can get into that a little bit later as we see these. Yeah, this is worth looking at again here. Peck, all the time in the world. Obviously, the defense doesn't react quick enough. Sanabria is there to pounce and put it home. The way João Klaus drifted by Tim Ream for the goal that he scored then a little bit after that was simply.
We got to watch them all, sadly, here.
Let's watch them all again then. Let's do it, Danny. Here, this is another bit of brilliance from Gabriel Peck, who we know is maybe the top winger in the league once he's absolutely on form. He's in that conversation. I'd say Denny Bouanga is still obviously that guy. But this is tremendous from Peck. Absolutely brilliant. And the cross is on the money for João Klaus. But again, it's just far too easy. And then this next goal is so bad. Like the turnover from Privet, it's all too easy for Ream. I think you've got to show him onto his left foot there. I think Kalen said it on MLS 360 at the time. Show him down the line. You can't let him inside like this. And then obviously, João Klaus is feeling good right now. He's scoring goals, 3 goals in the first 2 games. Is a cracking start to his time with the LA Galaxy, and he's looking like a really good pickup. I thought it was a little bit underwhelming at the start as a DP to bring to the LA Galaxy, the 6-time champions. I wasn't sure it was the right move given his inability to stay fully fit throughout the season. But João Klaus looks hungry. He looks fit. He looks fast. He looks like a player who's just clicking with Painsil and obviously Marco Reus. And with that, the Galaxy will be a lot better. So my answer is give it time. Back at the bank this weekend, a home opener against an Austin side that Charlotte should beat. So I would think that it's not time to press the panic button just yet, because there are lots of teams. Atlanta United, Tata's back. They've lost the opening 2. Philadelphia, Supporter Shield winner. Expected much more from them, although they lost 4 starters from last year. They're 0-2. So a lot of concerns around the league. Charlotte's not the only one.
Yeah, it's like in typical Charlotte FC fashion. Even when we feel like we're the worst team in the league, there's other teams that are like, no, we're worse. So it's like we always have this sort of like we feel like the forgotten child of the league. I think sort of with the launch being delayed the year due to COVID, and then kind of sandwiched. They launched St. Louis and San Diego right after us and all that. So. Even Charlotte FC struggles can't get attention from the league, but we're trying. Obviously, if there's going to be a turnaround for this squad, and let me just say though, I would hold on to that João Klaus prediction of yours that it may have been an underwhelming sign, because even with 2 good games, he does have fitness issues, and he did kind of wash out in St. Louis. So, but as far as DPs and their performances, let's just go straight to Wilfried Zaha, because his contract status has definitely become a hot topic here after 2 weeks. It was sort of like bubbling underneath the surface during the preseason, and everyone thought, we'll get the season started and see how it goes. Now, after 2 performances where Charlotte FC has 1 goal in 180 minutes, and Wilf Zaha's not getting the touches, and comments are already starting to fly. There was a press conference this week where Zoran Krneta sort of stuck his foot in his mouth a little bit. If you look at the first quote here at the top of the screen, and then he had to come back 2 days later and clean it up with Carol Walton. All in all, it's looking questionable for Zaha. Most people, when they read this first comment, Kevin, up the top of the screen here, they were like, "Okay, Zaha, that's done and dusted. Zaha's gone."
Well, I think it was the comment, but it was also the demeanor. I watched the video in terms of how Zoran said it, and I instantly thought, okay, this isn't all sunshine and rainbows behind the scenes with Zaha. That's the impression I got from the body language and the way it was delivered. I think we need to be a little bit more patient with Wilfried Zaha. And I think I say that because I know his qualities. Everybody that follows, say, the Premier League, and he's obviously spent some time elsewhere in Europe, understands the talent that he is. He's still young enough to be playing at the peak of his powers almost. And he had 10 and 10 last year, 10 goals, 10 assists in an opening campaign in Major League Soccer. That is not bad. If you said double-digit goals and assists, how many teams out there haven't had a player in the last 5 or 6 years in double-digit goals and assists? So I remember you talked about Atlanta United. I remember the earlier season of Atlanta United, and I don't know if there's a season Miguel Almiron was hitting double-digit goals and assists, but it just so happened, and here's the difference, the crucial difference, that Martinez was banging in goals for fun, that Tito Villalba was contributing, thereabouts, double-digit goals and assists, and Yamil Assad was too. So it's by committee, and unfortunately, the finger's been pointed at Wilfried Zaha a little bit too much, probably because of his frustration at times during games. He's demonstrative, his body language tells a story, but I think that's just Wilfried Zaha, and why not help him out, And I think with Pep Biel back fully fit and healthy, I still think Charlotte may need a backup striker, and I know Goodwin's there. I don't. I think we'll wait and see on if. And I'm a big fan of Toklamadi. I really think he's got a lot of talent, and I always listen to Bradley Roy Phillips in studio. And when BWP says, "Hang on a second, this kid's got something. Look at this movement. Look at this nous. Look at this smell for goal that he has. That not a lot of strikers naturally have. Idan Toklamadi has that. But I think elsewhere around the team, Zaha could use a little bit of help. It didn't help the team the last day that Ashley Westwood was ill during the week, I believe. No, correct? That Ashley Westwood is just it.
He subbed in the second half, but it was his first missed start in years.
Yeah, and he's Mr. kind of ever present. And I think Dean Smith has a lot to figure out when you think about the addition of Luca de la Torre. do you go with Ashley Westwood much more as a holder this year?
Mhm.
And then, because if you go to 4-3-3, you've got Pep Biel as the 10. So now there's only 2 spots. Luca Della Torre is not going to give you much defensively like Brandt Bronico would or Gianni would. So there's kind of that discussion as to who exactly are we right now if you're Charlotte. And that position will have a massive say on the supply for Wilfried Zaha and others. Now, you would think that Della Torre should be that guy. He's the one with the ingenuity. He's the one at breaking lines. He's very good at finding wingers and threading passes beautifully to strikers. So it's just got to gel for Charlotte. But I have no doubt in my mind, zero doubt, that Charlotte are a playoff team. The biggest concern for me right now is centre back. That's the biggest concern. I think the team will score goals, and I think Zaha's going to come good. And I know I've gone off on a tangent here, and I'm meandering through several different topics, Danny. Sorry. But
that's why we brought you in, Kevin. Yeah.
But it's centre back. Yeah. It's absolutely centre back. So is it Kessler or is it Privet? Or is it Tim Ream, quite honestly? And Ream is a savage pro. He's a brilliant professional. But Melanda helped an awful lot because he's so good at putting out fires. He's so quick, elegant on the ball. And now without Melanda, is your replacement Privet or Kessler? It's a big decision for the football club.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that is probably the biggest issue that we as Charlotte FC fans have right now is you knew Melanda, you sold him in the summer window last year and got him on the loan back for the rest of the season. You knew he was gone, and you didn't really go out and address the issue. Tim Ream's just a year older. Andrew Privet was displaced last year, did not look good against LA Galaxy at all. They did go out and get Henry Kessler, and I'm going to shout out to Will Pelagic, play-by-play man here on local radio for Charlotte FC, who was shooting some video at practice, open training this morning. So I borrowed this video from Will. Thank you, Willie P. But this is Henry Kessler. He's been doing jogging drills at training so far. Now it looks like he's kicking some balls. This, to me, does not look like ready to go in 3 days, Kevin. But it is a step closer. And is Kessler enough depth to replace Adilson Melanda, who I found to be a top 5 defender in the league? I don't think so, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think so either. He could prove us wrong. Dean Smith obviously, likes what he sees from Kessler. Kessler was part of a Supporter Shield winning Revs team, I believe, and he's someone who's been relatively proven in MLS. He's had a lot of minutes with the Revs. Is he that guy? Is he that guy to play alongside Tim Ream a year on, as you say? He was 38 years of age now. I think Melanda allowed Charlotte play a certain way. Melanda was just very, very good, quite honestly, an excellent defender in MLS. And credit to Charlotte.
Premier League in the next 2 years.
Yeah, and credit to Charlotte for bringing him in and getting the best out of him for Dean Smith. But this position at centre back is crucial. And the question of, is Ashley Westwood going to be your holding midfielder now, as opposed to covering every blade of grass? Because that's what we've seen from Westwood in recent years.
Yeah, and towards the end of last year, and he really did start to play more.
Yeah.
He fell more into many more games where he was just sitting on top of the 2 center backs.
And that's and he's great at that.
Yeah,
he's a great passer. He's a great leader, a wonderful communicator. He's a really savvy soccer player. So that's a great role for him. I'm just curious to see, will we see that? Because then that allows Della Torre play his role. Westwood's a year older too, Yeah. He's in his mid-30s. Yeah. So do you then allow Della Torre cover every blade of grass and be that guy? And then is it Pep Biel alongside him? It's just it's a case of tinkering with the system, but I think you have to tinker with it to get the very best out of Wilfried Zaha and insert name here, whoever's going to be on the other side, whether it's Vargas or whether it is Leo Labada. I think both those guys need to step up to another level.
Yeah, and then you can we've seen where Dean has put Pep Biel out on the wing and win with a 3-man midfield in certain situations. So it really feels to me, and maybe you get this vibe yourself, I'd love to hear this response real quick, Charlotte is just, you even said this, we don't really know who we are. They don't have an identity. The pieces don't quite fit. They're all just kind of everyone's kind of in each other's areas. This guy could go here, but he's here. This guy could go there, but he's there. And it's just, it's really hard. Dean Smith's the guy to do it. Dino's at the wheel, but is this something you think that, are we panicking too early, Kevin?
Yeah, you are. You absolutely, you absolutely are panicking too early. It's two games in, and it's 2 away games. And I've said it already, new coach bump at St. Louis, obviously a new striker that's found form at the Galaxy. It's not an easy start. for Charlotte. There's been teams that have had really tricky starts, like Real Salt Lake's start this season, both on the road. Atlanta United's, like, away against good teams in MLS hasn't been easy. Two games on the road is not an easy start. Back to the bank you go, where you lost 3 regular season games all last year, where the fans are absolutely phenomenal. I want to see the Poznan. I want to see Charlotte back at the bank and playing free-flowing football, where Pep Biel is the conductor of the orchestra, because that's when he's at his best. Charlotte obviously were at their best last year, that phenomenal winning run he was part of for most of it. You clearly missed Pep Biel come the playoffs. Yeah. And that was just so evident in terms of ingenuity and trying to score goals. I think the Spaniard is a little wizard, and I'm glad he's at Charlotte now full time.
Yeah, I think he needs the ball more. He needs more touches. Toklamati needs more service. And, we missed Pep Biel in that series, and I'm contractually obligated to say by my $0 a year contract that we also missed Wilfried Zaha in game 1 of that series. Yeah. He got the dumbest red card of all time against Philly on decision day. But give me a few thoughts on Austin, if you don't mind. And I'm going to call this clip up because I cut it. You don't really have to comment on this clip. I just want to watch it. But this is actually what I don't really want to be seeing a lot of on Saturday, which is Kalina making insane saves. He's great, and we were happy to see this, but is Austin going to be forcing Kalina into this kind of stuff, or how does Charlotte stop Austin?
Well, first of all, Kalina is just absolutely brilliant, and he went through a little bit of a blip, as we know, after winning Goalkeeper of the Year, but he also had back surgery. He was out for quite some time, and he bounced back, and the way he won Goalkeeper of the Year that season was remarkable. I think massive credit obviously has to go to Aaron Hyde, goalkeeping coach, who just has had, when you think about the career that Aaron has had, the goalkeepers that he's worked with along the way, like Sean Johnson, he plucked out of college, and he gave him a go as a very young goalkeeper in Chicago. And Johnson's gone on to be a real MLS legend now. He's been at so many clubs, and he's such a tremendous goalkeeper. Aaron obviously he was at Atlanta United, worked closely with Alec Khan and Brad Guzan, worked with Brad again at the national level, and some great goalkeepers for the US. And now Christian Kalina, it's no surprise to see him thrive under Aaron. And well done. He's a real detailed-oriented coach, so massive credit to him. But I think this weekend against Austin, so Austin last year, their story for folks that may not be aware, they went and had a record spend for their club, an attack that cost almost $30 million. Now, they've gotten rid of a winger in the form of Bukhari. Brandon Vasquez has a torn ACL. He was $10 million. And then $12 million was Mirto Izuni, who was banging in goals. He was the leading goal scorer in La Liga 2 with Granada. And he comes across, and he hasn't found his form yet at all. First season, real disappointment for a record, signing, $12 million. But he has the talent. There's something there for Mirto Izuni in Major League Soccer. And I just want to see it, I don't think we've seen the best of him yet at all. But this is the off-season, this past winter, that I've been most impressed with Austin. They bring in Facu Torres on one flank. They have Jaden Nelson, who is a great pickup. I think it's mad to me that more clubs weren't out to sign him, because he's got that raw ability to take on defenders. He's got that infectious way about, the way he plays, the type of ability that gets fans off their feet, and they make you want to enjoy the game that he's playing. I think Jaden Nelson's a gem, and with Torres and with Mirto Izuni, and now all of a sudden you introduce a bit of ingenuity as the holding midfielder in Ilie Sanchez, but with Owen Wolf and Danny Pereira further forward. Wolf's been hurt, but with Danny Pereira and Wolf as two young midfielders, the future's bright for Austin. And now it's up to Nico Estevez to get the best out of this group, but I don't think we've seen the best of them yet. They got over the line marginally against DC at the weekend. It was an okay performance. And then the week before, you should hold on to your lead at home against Minnesota in the home opener, and they didn't do it. Defensively, they can be broken down easier, it seems, even though their defensive record last year was actually quite good. But this year so far, I've been a little bit underwhelmed at a time when I'm hyping Austin, at a time when I expect Austin to really challenge for absolutely a top 4 spot in the West. Given their spend, given the talent that they have in Izuni and Vasquez when they get him back, in Facu Torres, Jaden Nelson, that's a fun attack, especially with the youngsters, Pereira and Wolf. So I'm kind of waiting for the best out of Austin. It hasn't clicked for them fully yet. Great run to the US Open Cup final last year, but I think this is a primetime opportunity for Charlotte on home soil to really kickstart their season.
Yeah, for Austin to only beat DC 1-0 at home last week, that has to give us a little bit of encouragement. Of course, it's professional goal scorer Christian Ramirez coming off the bench for Verde to do it. That's a guy that he's hurt us back when he played with Columbus, and I think he's a little bit of a danger man. But it should be a fun match. I can't wait. Kevin, thank you so much for returning to Soccer City. I want to real quick, if you got 2 more minutes. Many people in Charlotte, for all the hate that we like to throw towards Atlanta's way, we do tend to go down there and socialize a lot. I spend a lot of weekends in Atlanta every year, so about 10 weekends a year in Atlanta. So if I'm hanging out in Atlanta, there's a new spot to hang out, correct? It is the Irish Exit Pub. It's something that you and your family are working on. I don't know exactly your role, but I've seen you posted on social about this. I love an Irish pub. I have a group text of friends and I, and we always say, on random afternoons, we'll just be like pint of the black. Yeah. And it's like, we meet up, get some pour Guinness and enjoy it. What's your involvement with the Irish Exit Pub?
Yeah, I'm a co-owner of the Irish Exit, coming to Centennial Yards, which is this whole new, $5 billion entertainment district that's being built right outside the stadium. So you could throw a stone from State Farm Arena into the pub. You could kick a ball from the Benz into the pub. It's right next to the Georgia World Congress Center. It's just going to be state of the art, but it's also going to be a place where fans come and enjoy the atmosphere before an Atlanta United game. There's going to be a big fan fest type area right outside with some shade as well. Some really cool pieces of art going in there as shade, which I can't wait to show people. But a great pint of Guinness, good food, good fun, and we're going to be, well aware of what's going on at each game. So our staff are going to know that if Charlotte are in town, they're playing against Atlanta, they're going to make sure they add to the vibes and the fun there. So modern Irish hospitality, a great pint, good food, and your steps from the bench. So it's going to be the perfect place to come and pregame and have fun before the match and after.
Excellent.
Thank you.
I love an Irish pub. I love a lot of banter. I love asking people what's the crack. As they say.
Yeah, there you go. So many people get that wrong, Danny. They say what's like.
Yeah.
No, or they just say it wrong. It was a crack. And I said, no, it was great crack. You have to say it right. So it'll be great crack, and I hope to see many of you there. I won't be there every day at all. I'll obviously still be working weekends up in Apple TV and making the trip up north. But when I'm back, if I can pop in, if there's ever anything going on, if Charlotte fans want to come and we can host you, we'd love to.
Okay, excellent. We do send a big crowd down there. We like to take over at Mercedes-Benz when we go down. So Kevin Egan, thank you so much. Apple TV, it's back. It literally is better than ever. One of my favorite things to say, but 100% true now because it's cheaper. So I mean, just for that reason alone, it's better. Austin FC at Charlotte. I will be there. Kevin will be calling the action. He's going to be saying, we got to go, we got to go all night. So thank you, Kevin, for joining us. It's for the crown, baby.
Danny, Soccer City, what a show. Thank you so much for joining us. I just did it there. I can't believe I just did it. I'm playing host. Thank you so much for joining us. We got to go. Soccer City's where it's at. Thanks for having me, guys.